Hello, all of you RMFers.
Hi.
You know, I love to say that. All you RMFI wives,
Yes.
we love you. We are so proud of the work that you're doing. So I have Pastor Danielle Smith here.
Hello.
From Venue Church in Chattanooga. Many of you know her. I'm sure all of you know her.
You know my husband.
Well,
you may not know me.
This is the brains behind the husband. We all know that, right? So, we're here at the Fearless Women's Conference, and I grabbed Danielle. I said, let's talk to the ladies in our fellowship, and let's talk a little bit about balance. And I looked at her and I said, is that even a real thing? You know, people say, well, you have to have balance. Let's work on balance. How do you do that? Do you pull all of the things that you're doing and lay it out on the table and then just start divvying things up? I don't think so. Life's too crazy for that. So, but I know balance is important, or maybe that's the wrong word.
Yeah.
Just prioritizing,
Yes.
don't you think?
I think balance is, well, we kind of talk about balance like it's a bad word because of what we've learned in ministry, and when we try to communicate to our staff and the families on our staff, it seems like when we talk about balance, they're not hearing quite what we're saying. And so we don't really use balance. We talk a lot about rhythms and seasons. And so, you know, if you're balancing something, then something has to give. Or I think if you're letting the Holy Spirit order your steps in each season, like you said about prioritizing, you just kind of know what you're supposed to give your efforts to at that time.
At that time.
And you just have to keep your ear to
Right.
what the Lord has for you. Otherwise, you get stuck in patterns that aren't even like what you're supposed to be doing.
Right.
Because if you're trying to balance, you're putting so much effort into, okay, I'm going to create this schedule, especially as like a wife and a mom. I have 3 younger kids. Like, okay, so I'm going to make dinner here. I'm going to work out here. I'm going to spend time with my kids here. I'm going to go to the church here. I'm going to do this. And then I'll like create this schedule, and then I feel like I have to stick to it.
Right.
So I'm not listening to the Lord and like
That's
hearing
good.
what He has for me.
That is so
in that
good.
season. So
I remember when I was having children, and Ron and I mean, you all know the story. We started the ministry, and so I had to do everything. You know, I was his secretary. I typed the bulletin, but this is how old we are. We had bulletins, and I used a typewriter. So I typed the bulletin, and I was his secretary.
you were listening to a record while you did it.
Yeah,
right?
probably. Shut up, Danielle. Or a cassette.
8-track.
I'm not that old. And then on Sunday, you know, I did the nursery, but I also led worship. And so I was used to doing everything, but then I started having children into the ministry, into the marriage. And I felt like I wasn't giving the ministry everything that I was supposed to be giving the ministry. And I had this internal conflict. Then I had another child that I was nursing, and I couldn't be up there leading worship. I couldn't be doing the things that I wanted to do, or even the things that I was gifted and called to do. And that's a conflict when you know you're gifted, when you know you're called, but it's not your season.
That's right.
And so I had to just resign to the fact that this is, you know, my season right now is with these little babies. And I'll give the ministry the time that I do have, the extra time, if I can get a babysitter. And then I remember after having Chanlin, our third one, so this was 4 years of, you know, my season being home and having babies. 2 days a week, I would put them in staff childcare so that I could just kind of get out of the house and get back in. But it really hasn't been till the last, you know, really 7 years. 8 years that I have given my all, 100% to ministry. But the whole time I was called to ministry.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's where you deal with the seasons and being conscious of your season. I think one thing that I don't struggle with that I was thinking about when you were talking that some pastors' wives really do is expectations. And I think something that can fight just our trying to balance or whatever word we want to use is we feel like as pastors' wives, we have an expectation to do certain things, and that expectation exists in every season. And so when we started our church, like we had the best examples ever. But I just went in and Pastor Ron told us, he's like, be you. And so I just chose not to live under expectations, and I was just me. And so I never felt the pressure, the external pressure in every season to have to fit in what everyone else thought I should be doing. And so,
well, that's a whole nother topic. That's a topic of healing and maturity.
But I think that
if
if they can just like, I don't have to deal with people's expectations. I can really just do what I'm supposed to do in this season. If they're trying to balance things, it's something that'll tip the scale way off balance. If you're trying to add things to your life that aren't what God's wanting for you in that season, but it's what other people are wanting, you'll never find that
rest
balance.
Yeah, the rest.
Yeah, the rest of just like doing what you're supposed to do at that time.
But the only way to live in rest and not live performing is to have a healed heart.
Right.
So that'll be another session. We'll come to you later. I'll grab somebody else. We'll talk about having a healed heart. I love you. Keep being you. Keep doing everything God's called you to do and be everything God's called you to be. I believe in you. I'm rooting for you. I pray for you. God bless you. I love you.